Welcome back, everyone, to Baha'i On Air. Mark here.
And I'm Jane. It's great to be back. Today, we've got something special planned, a real deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack the latest message from the Universal House of Justice for Riḍván 2025.
A really significant communication for the worldwide Baha'i community.
Exactly. So our mission today, if you like, is to explore what this letter means from a Baha'i perspective for us individually and, for society's progress.
And the timing is interesting, isn't it? It lands just as we're heading into the final year of this first phase of the 9-year plan.
Right. 1 year left.
Yeah. So it's a perfect moment to look at the progress, sure, but also to think about what it implies, how it guides us going forward.
Yeah.
Both, personally and as a community.
Absolutely. And the first thing you feel reading it, I think, is this real sense of encouragement.
Definitely. There's a positive tone and eagerness about the reports coming in from all over the world.
Yeah, it feels like the core idea is this vision of the faith sparking hope in, more and more people.
And it talks about the advancement of the growth process globally. Not just steady progress, but striking breakthroughs. That phrase really stands out.
It does. Striking breakthroughs in diverse places, even places maybe where things felt slower before.
Which suggests something dynamic is happening, doesn't it? Like the faith is really taking root in new ways and different kinds of soil, so to speak.
So what do you think might be behind that, those breakthroughs?
Well, it could be several things. Maybe sustained effort, reaching a kind of critical mass.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe communities are getting better at adapting how they share the teachings for their specific context.
That makes sense. And the message also mentions a capacity for working with many souls at once. What does that tell us?
I think it points to a growing maturity, the community's ability to create these welcoming spaces and, crucially, to accompany larger groups of people as they explore the teachings and maybe start getting involved.
So better educational methods, maybe. Better support for spiritual growth.
Likely both. A refinement of approaches, definitely. And this capacity, of course, it doesn't just happen. It's often led by pioneers.
Ah, yes, the pioneers.
The message acknowledges them, those serving abroad, but also the ones working hard right on the home front. Their numbers are impressive.
Truly inspiring dedication. And then it shifts a bit to focus on established growth clusters. Maybe we should quickly explain what a cluster is.
Good idea. Yeah, a cluster is basically a geographic area. It could be a city, part of a city, a rural region where there's a focused effort to grow the Baha'i community.
Through things like study circles, kids' classes, devotionals.
Exactly. And in those established clusters, the message says the focus is on creatively using the strategies we know work to pass the second and third milestones.
Milestones.
Yeah.
Those represent sort of levels of community activity and deepening, right?
That's a good way to put it. Increasing levels of organized life, stronger individual understanding and commitment.
So it's not just about numbers, it's about strengthening the foundations.
Precisely. Consolidation and deepening. And then this leads to something really exciting the message highlights.
Which is?
In the strongest clusters, we're seeing these glimmerings of the society-building power of the faith.
Okay, society-building power. That's a big concept. What does that look like in practice from a Baha'i view?
Well, it's about how the teachings, when put into practice by a community, can actually start to foster things like social harmony, promote justice, contribute to everyone's well-being, real tangible change.
So it's beyond just individual transformation.
Yes, it's about how that collective transformation starts to impact the surrounding society. The message calls it a vibrant and transformative pattern of Baha'i life that more people are embracing.
That makes sense. And it seems to connect directly to the next part about grassroots engagement with society.
Exactly. The message talks about remarkable strides forward there.
And what kind of strides are we talking about? What initiatives?
Well, it specifically mentions a big jump in community-based social action. Education seems to be a major focus.
Like tutoring or literacy programs?
Things like that, yeah. Rooted in service and the nobility of each person. But it's broader, too. Agriculture, health, the environment, empowering women, even the arts are mentioned.
Wow, quite a range.
And it notes these are most visible in those strongest clusters we mentioned. It shows how community growth and looking outwards, engaging with society, kind of go hand in hand.
So you get this picture of Baha'is really trying to uplift their local areas, villages, neighborhoods, even specific apartment buildings.
By applying Baha'i principles in practical ways.
Yeah. And what I found really encouraging was the part about civic leaders and, people involved in local education or development actually seeking out Baha'is.
Mm-hmm. asking for their perspective, collaborating.
Why do you think that's happening more? What's drawing them in?
I suspect it's a recognition of the community's genuine commitment to the common good. Maybe its inclusive approach.
And perhaps the practical, principled solutions offered.
That too. And maybe the Baha'i emphasis on consultation, on working together, is appealing when people are looking for effective ways to tackle local problems.
It seems like a very collaborative approach.
It is. And this isn't just local. The message notes this growing respect for the Baha'i approach is showing up in national and even international discussions, too.
So zooming out a bit, all this progress, the growth, the social action, it's not happening randomly. The message links it to a vast global process of learning.
Right. That learning process underpins the whole 9-year plan.
Can you unpack that a bit? What is this process of learning?
At its heart, it's about systematically but also organically learning how to apply Baha'u'llah's teachings effectively in all these different situations to bring about spiritual and social change.
So it involves action.
Action, definitely, but also reflection on that action and consultation. At every level, local communities, national bodies, individuals, it generates strategies that are adaptable, that fit the local reality.
Always asking what worked, what didn't, how can we do better?
Exactly. It's a continuous cycle. And it's described as systematic, organic, and all-embracing.
And this learning process, it says, fosters dynamic relationships between families, neighbors, youth, everyone involved. How does that help?
Well, by creating these spaces where people can connect and work together meaningfully, it builds stronger, more resilient communities. It helps people find common ground, work toward shared goals, even people who might have been separated before. It unlocks that collective potential.
It sounds like it really embodies that call from Baha'u'lláh to
ceaselessly strive for the betterment of the lives of one another. Yes.
Yeah. And the message is very clear that the engine driving all this learning and action is the invigorating potency of the Word of God.
Absolutely. That's the ultimate source of inspiration and motivation.
Then, towards the end, the message kind of shifts perspective, acknowledging the world situation.
And the contrast.
Yeah, contrasting the bright light of the community's efforts with the gloom of a stormy sky, the tempest in the world.
It's a stark contrast, but important. It highlights the need for what the faith offers: hope, healing.
So acknowledging the global challenges.
Acknowledging them, yes, but also emphasizing the constructive work being done. Building these havens that will shelter humanity, as the message puts it. Little pockets of peace and progress based on spiritual principles.
That's a powerful image, havens.
It is, but it's coupled with a real sense of urgency.
Right, there is much to do. It reminds the national communities about the goals for this first phase, with Ridvan approaching.
And there's a very direct address to the reader, to each Baha'i.
Yeah, calling each person a beloved friend, a promulgator, a champion of the blessed beauty.
Feels very personal.
Yeah.
It's saying, look, your efforts are needed now.
Because the progress we make in these last few months directly impacts our readiness for the next phase of the plan.
Exactly. It's an encouragement to keep going, keep striving, and it ends with that beautiful prayer for divine help, for the aid of the favored angels.
Okay, so let's try and wrap up the main takeaways for everyone listening.
Sounds good.
We've seen this message highlights really significant progress in community growth and strengthening worldwide, driven by new approaches, this growing capacity for collective action.
Right. And alongside that, this remarkable boom in grassroots social action, education, health, environment, showing the real-world impact of Baha'i principles.
And underpinning it all is this global learning process, action, reflection, consultation, fueled by the power of the Word of God.
And finally, that urgent personal call to each of us to press on with dedication in this crucial final year of the plan's first phase.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How we can each play our part in this huge unfolding process.
It does. It invites personal reflection on how we can apply these principles in our own lives, in our own communities.
Definitely. And if you want to explore this further, we really recommend reading the full Riḍván 2025 message yourself. You can find it easily on the Baha'i Reference Library website.
Absolutely. And reading past messages from the House of Justice can give even more context, showing the continuity of this vision over time.
So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
Well, building on that idea of the glimmerings of the society-building power of the faith, maybe the question is, how can we, each of us, in our own neighborhood, our own town, help make those glimmerings shine a little brighter in this coming year?
That's a great question to ponder. How can those glimmerings become more visible where we live? Lots to think about.